dismiss history at our peril.
Liberty Nation Radio with Mark Angelides.
And you're back on Liberty Nation Radio for our final segment with me, your host, Mark Angelides, and longtime host of this here radio show, Mr. Tim Donner. Tim, I couldn't let you go without discussing what I consider possibly one of the top two most important cultural issues facing not just America, but the world today. And that is the Cracker Barrel logo rebrand. It's been quite the roller coaster, hasn't it, Tim?
Well, I come from the standpoint of someone who loves Cracker Barrel and has been there, I wouldn't say dozens of times, but maybe a dozen times in my life, because we do long drives, and whenever we see a Cracker Barrel, we say, okay, there's our lunch spot. It is warm. It is welcoming. It does feel like down home with their comfort food and their old-time relics, all of which are original. And it's really an American treasure, Cracker Barrel. It's quintessentially American. Now, this is the kind of store where you take a logo with the old guy over the Cracker Barrel.
Uncle Herschel, come on. Uncle Herschel is the guy.
No relation to Herschel Walker, by the way.
No.
Uncle Herschel. And, you decide to change it because, God forbid, it might, steer black people away from there because there's a white guy on the logo. I don't know. But it's a classic case of a story that in 2020 would never have occurred because the left was ascendant and rebranding corporate stuff to reflect DEI and anti-racism and all this stuff was all the rage at that time. But the culture has shifted. Message to the left, note to the left, memo to the left. The culture is not yours anymore. And this is basically Exhibit A in that whole transformation back to traditional, sane American culture where you don't have corporate notions that emanate from Los Angeles, Chicago, New York, places that ordinary Americans don't relate to in terms of the South, the Midwest, the heartland. They love their Cracker Barrel and they don't want to see it change. And this is the kind of thing that now with Cracker Barrel going back to the original logo, I guarantee you, Mark, they never would have done that 4 years ago after the George Floyd thing and everybody was bending the knee to Black Lives Matter and people were afraid to speak up. The country has changed. This is the Trump era, and it is more so than by far his first term in office. This is Exhibit A in the cultural shift back to what they call the normies, the normal people.
Those normies. Reminder of Chip Norm. So you say Exhibit A. There's also we've got more than a whole alphabet. We'll have to start doubling up on letters. But you've had Jaguar went for a similar thing in recent months, and that was just an utter disaster. But
I think it started to really turn in the whole Bud Light debacle. I think that was a pivot point where they brought in Dylan Mulvaney.
I know.
And, basically put on the most woke ad you possibly could. And it was really just the latest embodiment of truer words never spoken. Go woke, get woke, go broke.
It's so strange that you have so many corporate entities all claiming to appreciate diversity and then going for the same banal, boring, non-entertaining, scripted corporate DEI stuff, which produces an absolute lack of diversity in what it's actually presenting. It's corporate blandness. You go into a Starbucks, it's the same everywhere in the world.
Right.
Cracker Barrel was the exception. Let's hope it returns to its.
I'd say these are what I call corporate zombies. who are incapable of thinking for themselves.
Very true. Tim Donner, thanks ever so much for being with us today.
Always a pleasure, Mark.
And that's all we have time for in this week's edition of Liberty Nation Radio, heard coast to coast on the Radio America Network. I've been your host, Mark Angelides. I'd like to thank our guest today, Mr. Tim Donner, Liberty Nation's senior political analyst and longtime host of this here radio show. And of course, extend my thanks to you, the listeners, who take the time each and every week to tune in and join us. Please do remember, Liberty Nation does not endorse candidates, campaigns, or legislation, and this presentation is no endorsement.
We dismiss history at our peril.
Liberty Nation Radio with Mark Angelides.